There we go. Thanks for being here, Oliver. It's just you and I.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said,
So,
surprise, surprise, right?
yeah, right? You didn't know what you were signing up for.
Listen, I always say yes to building
You
leaders.
did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yep, you did. I love it. That's good. Um, so from what I understand, you have taken the 40-day program with Lisa Natoli. You once or a couple times?
I think I went through 3 times with the group. Yeah.
Okay.
At least three.
So, what originally drew you to sign up for the 40-day program? Like, what type of place were you in spiritually and or personally that made you want to initially sign up?
Wow, that's a very good question. As I think back on it, which would have been like in 2018, 17, 18. Um, I don't think anything happens just out of circumstance. I just believe that we attract to ourselves what we need in the moment. And quite obviously, during that time of my life, uh, I was calling the 40-day program to myself. I didn't know it, but it proved to be uh, what I actually needed. And not only did it help me personally with some inner challenges, but I think the bonus was that I became a part of this community. And I didn't have a community at the time. And I had been studying A Course in Miracles since 2005 on an island by myself. It was like my personal devotional. And uh, and like any spiritual path, if we just if we just get to know the ideas that the path is promoting, but don't have the lived experience of that. And there's a longing that is generated, right? Because you read these beautiful statements, these high ideas about yourself, and, and it's beautiful, but it seems so far away in terms of having the actual experience, which like Course in Miracles said, the experience of any spiritual path is peace. And so obviously, um, there was a depth of peace that I had not experienced in my life before. And in my pursuit of finding that peace, that place of peace, which I'm sure everyone listening uh, can resonate with what I'm saying, uh, I drew to myself what the spirit knew would be good for me. And it came in the form of the 40-day program. And it came in the form of Lisa Natoli, and it came in the form of this community that I've been a part of ever since.
That's powerful. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I feel the same way. It called me.
Yes.
Um, so Lisa, let's talk about our beloved teacher, Lisa Natoli, for a second. So I've taken a few classes with her, of course, and she just has such a gentle way of teaching. A Course in Miracle is simple when it's distilled down, right? Yet, as you know, it feels very, very complex. And I feel like Lisa has such a little special sauce in being very practical and down to earth. Um, but during the 40-day experience, what was your experience with her? What was your yeah, what was your experience with Lisa, the beloved teacher?
Right. Well, that was mine. The 40-day was my first connection with her.
Okay.
And as I was going through the program, and listening to her, because she preps it every day, with a daily lesson, and she kind of highlight the theme for that day. Her, like you said, she has this gift of calmness, and she sets the tone for a very inviting learning environment. Just her personality, her vibration that she comes to, and it comes from a place of authenticity, a place of realness. It's my experience that she was like so authentic, and so um, it was like she had embodied what she was teaching. It's believable. It's evident. It's quite evident. She was the evidence that what we were embarking on, that it was a reality that could be experienced. And she just has this natural aura about her, this simplicity that she can take complex ideas and make them so simple by sharing her own experience, her own heart, her own real feelings. Lisa will share her real feelings, right? And a lot of time, I know for me at that time, part of the purpose for being in 40 Day was to crack that outer shell that I still was unaware, that was keeping me from my own authenticity, from being comfortable in my own skin and really coming to know my own self. And so she was like the light sitting on the hill as the example, right? That this is the goal, right? And so, and of course now, I've heard stories since then that even during that time, Lisa was still discovering and rediscovering who she really was, and she was still working through her own challenges, right? And so it just, the whole experience with her and the 40 Day teaching itself was just like, it was the perfect ingredients for me, right? Because of the results that it got. I couldn't say it up front, right? I didn't know what I was embarking on. I just felt like it was right for me. But now, 7 years later, it's quite evident that that was my path to take. And I'm still on that path. And it has brought me even to this moment where I'm talking to you and sharing, the experiences that I had many, many years ago that is still unfolding, still the purification process never stops, right? As long as we're in this world of duality, purification is a ongoing unfolding, moment by moment. So, yeah.
That's the truth. That is the truth. It is ongoing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. There's this the word that was coming up was this transmission. Lisa has that authentic transmission that just exuberates out of her. You're right. That resonates as well.
Yeah.
So you mentioned peace in the beginning, how you just had more peace within you. How did the 40 Day program just change the way you either saw yourself or the world around you? And or maybe also what's in that question is, was there a specific moment, or was there a profound sort of insight or aha during the program that made you feel like you were truly transforming from the inside out? Or was it just like a gradual flow?
Yeah. Well, if you've been a course student for any time, or if you've been on a spiritual path for any time, you come to understand that all of it is in every part of it. And looking back on it, I can say that it from day one, from the time I said yes to the invitation to the conclusion of the 40-day program, at looking back, on it, that in every part of it was the whole of it. But as you go through, it appears to be parts, bits and parts, but they all are all encompassing in the sense that it was doing a real deep work in me. Every lesson, every illustration, every example that she used. I mean, the whole program itself is like an amazing transformational tool for anyone, regardless of where you are in your spiritual journey. Whether you consider yourself a beginner, whether you consider yourself a course student or not a course student, whether you're Christian or Buddhist or atheist, no matter where you are, that program is so designed to meet you, right, where you think you are, and to love you until you discover, right, and let go of everything that you have ever held about yourself that was not true. And so it's like she describes in the 40-day that it's an invitation to stand in a circle, right, for 40 days, very, very much based on Jesus's 40-day experience in the wilderness, right? And it's an invitation to stand in this space, this safe space, right, for 40 days and invest in your own awakening, invest in your own growth, your own transformation, your own purification, sanctification. And that's the challenge. And as a result of saying yes to the invitation and yes to the challenge, what awaits you is a great experience called 40 days of experiencing coming to know the true self. And so that's kind of how I can encapsulate it, 7 years later. Yeah, but yeah, that's how it was for me.
That's beautiful. That's powerful. Yeah. Um, you also mentioned in the beginning how, and I feel the same, of course, in Miracles, you do kind of feel like you're on that lonely island, it's just, and you're trying to sift and sort. And so can you speak a little bit more about what the community helped you with as a part of being, part of the 40-day program community? How was that helpful in your journey of your own spiritual awakening?
Yeah, even though like when you're doing the 40-day, you're in your own space, right? You're in your own world. However, knowing that hundreds or maybe even thousands may be going through the same transformation that you're going through in the same community at the same time, it gives you a sense of communion with others, right? And like it's like you become a part of this unleashing of a power that is happening among all of us that's taking this journey at the same time. I mean, you may not, I didn't know any of the other participants, but I knew there were other participants. And there was just this, what comes with it is this, knowing that you're supported, right? And I mean, so it's almost undescribable. You have to, it's like trying to define what love is. Well, you can't really define love. Like the Course said, it can only be experienced. Well, that union that you feel and communion that you feel going through it with others, it's almost undescribable. You have to experience it for yourself. Like my mama used to say, boy, my mom used to say, you're gonna have to know it for yourself. And I was knowing it for myself during that 40 days, right? And yeah.
Yeah, the two are more gathered, right?
Yes, yes.
There's such
Power,
power in
power of
that.
agreement. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that is powerful. You're right. It is hard to put it into words. So I think just one more question, really. Um, how would you describe the feeling of going through this program to someone who might be a little unsure if it's right for them?
Yeah, well, uh, everything that has everything that has your name on it, and everything has your name on it, comes with some sense of apprehension, some sense of nervousness, right? Some sense of uncertainty. I mean, that's just part of the human experience, and you can't bypass that. But to get to that place of peace, which is what we're all after, you know, you you can't get there without bringing all of your experiences to surface, all of your past. So this course will require you, right, to look, not to look away, but to look at it, right? But look at it from a different perspective, perception. The course, this 40 days is about looking at what you used to look at from a perspective of fear-based, right? Sin consciousness, um, and guilt, to now to look at the same experiences through the eyes of innocence, which is what we are, right? And so that you can reframe the experiences. You can reframe the false ideas that you held about yourself. For me, what was big about me was fear. I didn't realize how much I was still holding on to my 7-year-old self and the fears that I said yes to at that time of my development, right? I can look back because through the course I discovered that it was a moment in my life that I chose fear over love, and I was 7 years old, right? And then that carried on until, I mean, you go back in 2015, 2005 is when I started reading the course, which started that healing process. And then by the time I met Lisa in the 40-day program, I was thoroughly prepared to go all in, right? Because that was just priming me for the undoing of all those hidden hurts and pains and fears and all of that stuff, right? All of the layers over the years that I had placed upon myself, and imprisoned myself to the point that I wasn't comfortable in my own skin, and some of the self images that I held about myself were not true, and they were holding me back, and I wasn't really fully expressing myself like I'm able to do now. Right? And so if someone is, if you're on the fence, or if you have some doubts, or if you're focusing more on that voice that don't speak for love, that's telling you, no, this may not be for you, or 40 days, that's a long time, and all of the self-talk that you're probably going through. And all of us go through that. It's not just happening to you, it happens to all of us. And that is the thing that we have made a giant in our life, and it's been controlling our life. And until we face it from a place of truth, and that's what the 40 days is all about. It's an invitation, it's a challenge. You've said yes to the invitation. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be listening to this conversation that we're having. You said yes to the invitation. You said yes to the challenge. And now it's time to have the great experience. Because in the great experience is your healing. It was my healing The 40 days is basically a journey of healing, right? Because we cannot really experience our true self as perfect love, which is who we are and what we are, until there is a complete healing. In this 40-day course, experience provides a safe and beautiful lifelong experience that can and will get you there if you just go ahead and give yourself over to this. I would recommend this program for every human being on the planet, regardless of what your spirituality is, because it gets to the root. It gets to the root. And the root is that we still hold these beliefs in separation, and we hold these false identities, these false ideas about who we are. And this course is designed perfectly, right, for and gives you that safety, that place to stand in this space, right, and experience your own transformation. It did it for me, and if it did it for me, I know it could do it for anyone, because I was steeped in fear. And one of the biggest things coming out of my experience was that my freedom to express myself, to be myself, to love myself, and to love others, and to love the truth that is true always. And so that's why I'm here. That's why I said yes to tonight. When someone asked me, CFA asked me to do this, and I will always say yes to the truth. But so I heard someone else, I heard Lisa, maybe someone will hear me. Because it's all designed for, there's a group of people out there that's waiting on you to awaken. Because only you have the temperament, the expression, the vibration that they will listen to. Right? So all of us become teachers of God, right? And well, I can go on and on, but, you know.
I know, I feel you. That was great. That was beautiful. That it really encapsulated your experience. I think it's great, actually. Let me